Hello my friends, and today I have some bad news for you all. Besides the fact that the occupiers have once again become very active along the entire front line, they are also advancing faster than anticipated. But Zelensky said that a counteroffensive will take place, and there is already a plan in place.
Yes, we have a plan for a counteroffensive. But this requires weapons, Zelensky in an interview with Bild. The main theses of the president. Ukraine. About Ukrainian weapons, we have a good production of drones. But drones are not a substitute for air defense, long-range missiles, and artillery. Ukraine. About missiles, our partners have certain weapons that we need today to survive. Ukraine needs them to survive, and I just don't understand why we don't get these weapons. Ukraine on calls to freeze the war. Of course, some will be happy. The world will say, yes, we managed to freeze the conflict, missiles do not fly. But this is only until Russia increases the production and stocks of military equipment, missiles, drones, and analyzes all the mistakes that it made at the beginning.
Meanwhile, shelling from Russian territory continues unabated in the Chernihiv, Sumy, and Kharkiv regions. However, there are no reports of new strikes on Russian territory. And the US Secretary of Defense said that Ukraine cannot strike Russian oil refineries.
Certainly, those attacks could have a knock-on effect in terms of the global energy situation, but quite frankly, I think Ukraine is better served in going after tactical.
The US probably doesn't understand what's going on, although there shouldn't be any restrictions today. Moreover, there is no reason to close the Ukrainian airspace today, and the German foreign minister said that the limits on Patriot systems have been exhausted.
The foreign ministers and defense ministers of the European Union, EU, countries will discuss sending new air defense systems to Ukraine amid Kyiv's desperate request for the supply of Patriot systems. This was told by the EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy Josep Borrell. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba desperately asked me during our last conversation about at least 7 Patriot batteries, Borrell said. The head of European diplomacy added that in this regard, he will raise the issue of supplying Ukraine with an air defense system so that it can repel Russian missiles at the upcoming meeting of EU foreign and defense ministers.
Overall, as it can be seen, there are major problems with what for now. Okay, now let's move on to the front line, starting with the Bakhmut direction. I'll say right away that the Russians are actively hitting the rear areas here. Kramatorsk, Klishchiivka, Konstantinivka are all under attack. But along the front line, the occupiers are already breaking through directly to the water obstacles, and battles are being reported there. So this indicates that they are gradually breaking through the Ukrainian Armed Forces defenses with FABs, allowing them to move faster towards the city. Essentially, it turns out that the gray zone has expanded by another 1 kilometer since yesterday. In addition, there are battles for Klishchiivka and Andriivka, but they haven't made any advances there. So 20 attacks were recorded in this direction over the day, and the battles continue. In the Avdiivka direction, the occupiers, as before, are unable to capture Vuhledar and Semenivka, so they have increased the number of shelling attacks on these settlements, while offensive actions are being carried out towards Umansk. So over the day, the Russians conducted 6 attacks here, but without success, and the front line remains unchanged. Further south, in the areas of Nevelske and Pervomaiske, all attacks have ceased. So the Ukrainian side doesn't confirm the occupation of Pervomaiske by the Russians as before. In the Marinka direction, the occupiers continue to storm Krasnohorivka, Georgiivka, and Novomykhailivka. The shelling continues along the entire front line, but there are no changes. In the Vuhledar direction, the occupiers have resumed their attempts to break through to Vadiane and continue attacks on Staromayorske and Urazhaine. So the situation is complex, but the Ukrainian forces are doing everything to hold the defense. So the shelling persists at its former intensity. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the occupiers are again storming Robotyne. Although the activity is low, with 2 attacks per day, shelling continues along the entire front line, and gradually the enemy is reclaiming what was lost during last year's counteroffensive. So shelling also continues in the areas of Enerhodar, Nikopol, Marhanets, and other settlements. And Russian war correspondents, in turn, report significant losses in the area of Robotyne.
Today, our troops also tried to attack the enemy twice with the forces of groups from the 70th Motorized Rifle Regiment in the village of Robotyne. Unsuccessfully. Now it has finally been decided to withdraw the 76th Airborne Assault Division from the area of the settlement of Robotyne. The division is completely drained of blood. The 76th Airborne Assault Division will be replaced by the Reserve Brigade of the Dnipro Main Army. That's how Teplinsky commands. In general, the Dnipro Main Branch is undergoing planned preparation for the performance of extremely complex tasks. Various trainings are conducted. Yesterday we showed you a video of the training of engineers for crossing a water obstacle. Today we publish a video of the training of warriors chemists to set up a smoke screen.
In the Kherson direction, the occupiers continue to shell the right bank with several attacks per day on the village of Kharkiv. However, the Ukrainian forces maintain control over the stronghold and the situation remains unchanged. Meanwhile, the occupiers persist in shelling Odessa with several explosions reported yesterday evening. Now, turning to the Luhansk direction. In the Seversk direction, the occupiers persist in storming Bilohorivka and attempting to advance near Verkhnyokamyanske and Rozdolivka. However, the Ukrainian forces repel all attacks and the front line remains unchanged. In the direction of Kreminna, the occupiers continue their attacks on the village of Terne. However, as before, they haven't achieved any success. They have increased the number of shelling along the entire front line. Nevertheless, their efforts haven't yielded any results and the front line remains unchanged. In the area of Svatove, the occupiers have launched offensive actions on Andriivka and conducted shelling on Nevelske and Novoyegorivka. So the outcome of these new attacks is yet to be seen. But the Ukrainian forces are doing everything to prevent the occupiers from breaking through the defense. In the direction of Kupiansk, after a prolonged lull, offensive actions have begun on Klishchiivka, with a continued heavy shelling along the entire front line. So let's see how long the Russians can sustain this time, as they incur significant losses with each unsuccessful assault. And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.